A local creative entrepreneur has found a photography niche in the wake of COVID. Ryan recently made a trip out to BC Woods in Urbana to talk with the founder of the photo brand Midwestcapades.
That's right. Teresa Ellis found herself exploring nature in the midst of the shutdown. The impact of those hikes began both a healing process during a difficult time in her life that resulted in a creative new venture. Now she shares her work with the people across the Midwest. Let's take a look. So tell me a little bit about your philosophy of taking pictures.
I think one of the most important things about how I like to approach photos is to just sort of, I try and get out of thinking mode. So if I'm worried about my settings or concerned about my equipment, or if I've gone out to find something really specific, like, oh, for the business end of things, I need to have a photo of X because people have been asking about it. Those all result in really terrible photos for me. They're all very dead, and I think it's you know,
it loses the natural creativity.
Yeah. So, truth be told, Midwestcapades started not as a photography venture, but just as like an Instagram account where I was just taking walks in nature just with my phone. I would always, you know, see some, you know, and I'd want some like alone time and some time to process some things, or just like a break from life, especially during the pandemic, and a handful of other things that were all swirled into that at the same time. But on those walks, I would always come back with loads of pictures, and there'd be some small thing, so like thorns growing out of a tree, or a mushroom I'd never seen before, or, you know, honestly, a dead leaf that just had a really gorgeous shape to it, and the light was hitting just right.
And these are things you just started noticing while you were walking, and you had your camera?
And it kind of, yes, and it kind of would just happen. And then as soon as I had done that and seen this really sort of spellbinding thing, then I was like, all I want to do right now is share this incredible thing with people. Wow. And so that was sort of the baby version. And, you know, during some of those really stressful times, I was noticing myself that, you know, if I was doom scrolling on my phone, you know, I think we all doom scrolled as much as we could.
I just had a conversation with my wife about that. We're like, we actually need to put our phones away because we just sit there and doom scroll.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. When there's not a lot else,
it's
calling you out of the house.
It's a real problem.
That's right. So, but I noticed that when I went back to look at the photos that I had taken on these walks, just sitting on my couch, looking at a device, just changing the content that I was looking at, these photos of something that I was really, you know, enthralled by recently, it made me feel so much better during a time when I really, you know, and I think like a lot of people did, really felt horrible.
It had a therapeutic effect.
It really did. And I've since, so there were two things that happened. One of them was like, seems like there's something to this. And I did a little bit of research, and it turns out that there are, you know, smart folks with big degrees who have actually looked into it and you know, measured some of the effects of just looking at photos of nature, or things that are just green.
Really?
And yeah, and seeing.
So you don't even have to be out in it, just looking at the picture.
You don't even have to be out in it.
It has an impact on your personal well-being.
Yeah, it really does. There are, you know, your things about the people that they were studying, their heart rate changed, the pace of their breathing changed, cortisol levels, you know, decreased, a handful of other things. And so that's really freeing to know that you don't necessarily even have to like do a lot of hard work to get out of a get out of a situation that feels bad. All you need to do is just like tweak a little bit what is in front of your eyeballs. So that piece, led me to say, I have all these photos, they're locked on my phone. I only look at them every once in a while. I want to have them in my space. So I started to print some of my own pieces and have them around so that I could like have that effect.
Yeah.
You know, just around. So I didn't have to go seek it, deliver. It was just there, and it would catch my attention, and then I would receive this like positive effect from that. So once I started printing those, and then just randomly, I was like, hey, anybody else want one?
So you started out actually printing them for your own use. Like you were like, these pictures actually have almost a medicinal effect on me.
Yes.
So you started printing them, putting them around your house, and then you started like thinking maybe this might help somebody else.
Yep. Absolutely.
And so that's how the business side of Midwestcapades came about.
It is. So, I sold a handful of prints at that time when I was making them for me. But you know, it's like if I can print one, I can print 5. So.
Well, you've gone from 5 to now you're at all these markets across the Midwest, right?
Yeah.
You have a pretty wide range that you reach, where you set up a booth and you also sell online.
You know, it always amazes me how being out in nature can have such a positive impact on our health. And now it sounds like even photos of nature have a similar effect. Later this hour, Teresa will share some tips and perspective on how you can improve your photography game during the winter.
Very interesting. In the meantime, you can find Teresa's prints and other products on her website. We, of course, will connect you through our website at CILiving.tv.